In the previous video, we configured the Chrome extension and saw it in action on Amazon. Now, let's switch to our localhost application and see MockForMe in action using Chrome DevTools. Next, we'll launch a local Next.js application and demonstrate MockForMe DevTools in action. Start the application in VS Code and open localhost 3002 in your browser. Since localhost is already whitelisted, the MockForMe bubble appears automatically, indicating that the extension is active and ready to use. Open MockForMe DevTools by clicking the bubble. API requests appear in the Others tab. Since no backend or mock responses are configured, all requests return 404, not found. This application has three main features. User information displays details of the logged in user. Product list shows the available products. Add to cart lets users add products to their cart. These features rely on the following APIs. Now, let's create mock responses for these APIs using the MockForMe dashboard. First, create a new collection called localhost testing. Next, create a new API for the get/API/user/me endpoint within the collection, and then click Save to create the API. Next, turn on the status toggle to activate it. Now, let's create a mock response for the user API using AI. Enter the prompt, generate a JSON object that returns name and email. Once the response is generated, click Use Response to apply it. Next, enter the 200 response code. Enter a response title, such as Success Response. Optionally, add a description like Success Response for User API. This field is optional and can be left blank. Click the Save button to create the response. The response has been created successfully. Next, turn on the status toggle to activate it. Now, let's return to the localhost application and verify that the API is being mocked. In the Mappings tab, you can see that the user API is now listed. If it doesn't appear automatically, click the Reload Mappings option to refresh the list and fetch the latest mappings. Refresh the page to trigger the API call. The mocked response is now visible in the Mocked tab of the DevTools widget. You can also see the user information appearing in the header, confirming that the API has been successfully mocked and the response is being served correctly. Let's continue by creating mock responses for the remaining APIs. First, navigate back to the collection by clicking the collection name in the breadcrumb. Next, create a new API for the product list. Enter the endpoint as /API/products, select the get method, add a description, and save the API. Now, let's add a response for the products API. Use AI to generate the response by providing the product data schema. Once the response is generated, select response code 200, enter a title and description, and click Save. Finally, enable the response using the status toggle. Let's test the application to verify that the product data is being displayed correctly. Great! The products are displayed successfully. Now, let's open the Mocked tab in DevTools and review the response received. Once done, return to the collection using the breadcrumb and create a mock for the Add to Cart API. Create a new endpoint, API/add to cart, using the post method, add a description, and click Save. After creating the endpoint, enable it using the Enable Mocking switch. Next, add a response by providing a title, description, response code, and a response object that returns status with a value true. Then click Save to create the response. Once the response has been created, enable it using the status toggle switch on the response listing page. Now, test the Add to Cart functionality. If the endpoint does not appear in DevTools automatically, click Reload Mapping. The API should now be visible in the mappings list. Clear the Mock tab and click Add to Cart. A confirmation pop-up appears, indicating that the item was added successfully. Let's review the Add to Cart response in the Mocked tab. Now, let's create an error response for the Add to Cart API that returns a 500 internal server error to test how the application handles failure scenarios. Let's quickly verify that everything is working as expected. Now, set a 5-second API delay from the API list section to test the loading state. Test the application again and observe the request completing after the configured delay. And that's it! You're ready to build and test APIs with MockForMe directly from Chrome DevTools. Try MockForMe today to simplify development and ship stable releases. Build smarter, ship faster.